Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Folks, I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hello.
And if you're wondering what's wrong with my voice, I have a touch of a cold at the moment here.
Cold or the flu or something. So lucky you're listening to this over the internet.
Yeah,
you won't get any bugs that way.
Yeah, so if I don't feel like talking very much...
I will do some of the talking. Actually, this might be a very, 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 very short podcast.
Yeah, so tonight we are doing, as I promised you guys, including one fan who wanted us to review this movie, and we've been talking bit back and forth between messages. So, to you guys, this is for that person out there. So let's get down to review.
The 1978 version of it. This is the remake in 2006, which is it's basically the same story, but there's quite a few subtle changes here and there and stuff. So, to save Sarah's voice for a minute, I'll just go through and say a little bit of stuff here. The two films differ in several ways.
Quite.
The personalities of Sarah and Patty, who's now named Lindsey, have been switched. They are now two biological sisters instead of adopted siblings.
Yes.
The movie features on magic as a prominent element of the plot, whereas in the original, the focus is more heavily on Sarah having telekinesis.
In that one, it was more or less that she was like another Carrie that was guided by...
I was giving you a voice arrest.
By her sorority mother, obviously. But in this one, it's different. It's more of a supernatural horror fantasy comedy.
Can I go? Now, well, it's not comedy, really.
Well, there's a bit of comedy, a bit of humour.
Okay, look, a bit of humour, to lighten it. Now, the character Mrs. Hunter was rewritten to be a younger person who possesses a PhD, and she's actually running class at the university school, whatever. And she was a more positive figure in the movie as opposed to the original one, portrayed by Shelley Winters, who was a nasty piece of work. Yeah,
returning to the production, I know that we already established her already, but Morgan Fairchild returns as a different character in this, and she was a bit of the school bully in the last one, obviously.
Yeah, and she comes back as the girl's mother. Now, can I finish by saying the film's ending has also changed as Sarah ends up with her love interest and does not die at the film's completion. So there's a few subtle changes there. Yeah. Big changes, little changes, sideways changes, whatever.
But it's kind of positive changes. And also, guys, like the 1978 one, this was also went directly to ABC, on TV. So technically, both of these movies, they went directly to television. So, and on ABC, obviously.
Yes, ABC. I think I can't remember the other one, but this one, the ABC, first aired as part of ABC Family's 13 Nights of Halloween in 2006.
Yes.
All right, now I'll go for my usuals.
Right.
Okay. I don't know who it was produced by. No. Directed by Stuart Gillard. Written by Daniel Berenson, Tom Holland, and Carol Cesarino.
Right.
Okay.
Try.
Producers: Sarah Beresford, Hudson Hickman, Craig Rosler, Ido Lampton, and a host of others. Ido Lampton, Anos Jr., Karen Spiegel. There you go. Now, the players, if you will. Okay.
Yes. Now we introduce the players.
Morgan Fairchild plays the mother of the two girls going to university. Plays Trina Goodwin.
That's his name. That's still the same. The surname.
Whoopee.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Go on.
The two daughters, Micah Borum, whatever, plays Sarah Goodwin. Summer Glau, Glau, plays Lindsey, her sister. Amber Wallace plays Vita. What a nice name. Ben Ziff plays Finn. Joanna Garcia plays Corinne. Jennifer Tilly plays Eugenia Hunter. She's the one who's replacing the sorority mother with a younger version of a teacher. So
we've actually seen her in another movie we reviewed called High Spirits, where she was much younger.
Yeah,
and she's also in The Bride of Chucky, which was done not too long ago.
And she's related to Meg Tilly. Now, Tessa Thompson plays Esme. There you go. Now that's all the players taken care of. Can't think of anything else. This is like I said, it's a few changes, but it's basically the same thing. Chicks go to uni, join a sorority, and all hell breaks loose. There
literally.
Can't think of anything else to say before you take it away.
Sure.
Okay. There you go, Grizzly.
So the story begins where a bunch of girls are going into their basement. Little do we know that they're a bunch of witches, and they're young women, like teenagers, and they're about to sacrifice this girl, an unknown girl we don't know of, who is supposedly the one that they must sacrifice to this flame of sorts. They're like Vestal virgins, according to the story.
We'll change that. The really, really, really supposedly nice sorority house has a dark witch cult going on in their place, which is this fire cult.
Yeah.
And the other, EPE or something.
They're
they're the other,
earthy type.
They're earth white witch type people.
Yeah. So these girls have to sacrifice a girl or the one to the horrible eternal flame with the knife of
blood and
with the knife of truth. But when Corian tries to pierce her with the knife, it doesn't work, and they all say, "What's happening? Isn't she the one?" And then they discover that she is pregnant with twins, and the girls decide to go out of the room, probably discuss what to do next. And then we cross over to 18 years later. Do the maths. The girls who were, born are now 18, obviously.
Yeah.
And now starting college. Anyway, the girls are, the following is Sarah Goodwin and Lindsey Goodwin, who are raised by their Mrs. Goodwin. Yeah, no,
I get the impression, not 100% sure, that both were adopted, but they were sisters. They weren't. One was a real one from the mother. One was adopted. So they're both adoptees from the girl who died during this ritual.
But to them, they think Mrs. Goodwin is their mother. Full stop.
Yeah.
And they don't know their identity of their father. Does not matter because it's not part of the story.
No.
So anyway, Sarah is what's the better word I could describe her? She's a little alternative type of person. She's unlike her sister Lindsey, who wants to be accepted by the sorority and have all the good trimmings that come with being part of a sorority.
The social stuff,
being accepted by a boyfriend, stuff like that.
Parties, the stuff.
And of course, the sorority they want to apply for is Alpha Nu. No, they haven't changed the names, obviously. But Alpha Nu sounds like the most popular sorority around, obviously. Of course, Sarah's least than happy to join this group because she feels like she's not their type of girl, obviously. She's pretty, don't get me wrong. She's very cute.
Very attractive and outgoing and stuff, but she's bordering on being, she's a fringe dweller, a bit turning a bit gothic-y. It's not quite what they're looking for.
Of course, she covers her wrists with special bracelets.
Because the scar marks, it looks like she's been cutting herself.
Yeah, but she doesn't remember
more about that later on.
Yeah. Anyway, so Lindsey is the other white meat, if you will, where she's just plain Jane type, would you say? Just the exact opposite to Sarah.
Attractive.
She's attractive-ish, a little.
Brunette going on blonde.
Yeah, a little bit like what the original Sarah's like. Very ordinary. Well, not bordering on an ordinary, but it's cute.
She's cute, nice, pretty, and
Yeah, anyway, the girls arrive at the dorm, and of course it's a dump, and hopefully when they get to their pledging, they'll live in better accommodations.
Yeah, they're doing the temporary accommodations before they get assigned to the sororities.
They meet also Vita, a beautiful gothic girl. I always think that I love her style. She's very cute, and I think I always love that type of style about it. And they also meet Finn, who becomes Sarah's love interest. He's he's a potential guy who wants to be a doctor growing up,
But
we learn that later on. Anyway, so the girls prepare to go cruising for sororities. So they dress, good.
They do the rounds.
Before they get around to doing the rounds, they get an invitation to one of the sororities, which is PED. Which you may know is they continued the horrible joke calling them pigs, elephants, and dogs.
Yeah.
The horrible
Not
joke.
very nice.
Anyway, so they're invited to attend, but the girls Lindsey wants to pledge Alpha, obviously.
Because it's a very nice up marketplace with all these pretty girls. It's a really nice building and blah, 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 blah,
They
blah.
soon arrive at there, and it's full of perky, very snobby type girls.
And actually, they're not trying to dump Sarah, though. They're prepared to accept both of them in there, but Sarah doesn't really want to be there.
Yeah, Sarah, while she's out of earshot, she decides to walk off and, just wait until Lindsey's done with the introduction stuff. Of course, after they do the intros, they're about to leave, but then, what's her name? Esme approaches her, telling her, "You must meet our sorority president." And this is Corinne, the girl we saw at the beginning. And she looks the same, obviously. She's like 18 years, has not affected her, obviously. Isn't that right, Mike?
Somewhat.
Anyway, they shake hands, but then Sarah feels this odd feeling, and she's kind of using her powers and broke a glass of punch in Corinne's hands.
And went all over her eyes pretty close.
She freaks out and she leaves. Of course, Lindsey knows about Sarah's ability, and Sarah is subconscious about it, obviously, because she doesn't like being a freak and stuff like that. But as they're walking along and talking about Alpha, they then stumble, or Lindsey stumbles, on a branch, and this is outside of PED. And some girls approached them and invited them inside their house to warm up and to heal from the wound. And we do see in the scene that the branch itself was actually placed there intentionally for them, obviously. There they meet the sorority mother, who is really a nice lady.
Yes.
And she kind of knew. We also see some photos dating back to many, many years ago, and including a photo that has where the sorority mother, who hasn't aged a day when you think about it, considering how old and grey and black and white the photo looked.
Yes.
Obviously, this is back many years ago. Anyway, we then notice the Lindsey's leg is healed, like it's not been broken or anything like that.
She thought it was broken. All of a sudden, they put a pack on it, and they had a little bit of a ritual, and all of a sudden, it got all better.
Yeah, of course, the girls decide to depart, and then later on, they find out they both got accepted by both sororities.
Yeah, Alpha Nu and the Pigs Elephant.
Yeah.
PED.
Of course, Lindsey's all for, let's go page, Alpha, blah, blah, blah. But I think Sarah's still unsure. And when she goes to her class, which is more like about, I don't know what type of class it was, but it deals with historic, mythology stuff.
Well, yeah, that sort of stuff, yeah.
There she meets
ancient cultures and stuff, I think, yeah.
There she meets Finn, and as they're talking, as the teacher's talking, we find out that it's Mrs. Hunt who's also doing the class. She's
a sorority mother and also a teacher there, and she does some sort of thingy where all the class is oblivious to what she's doing and talking to Sarah.
Yeah.
And they just like walking through time. Yeah, they're doing the home. They're taking notes and stuff and everything.
Blah blah.
They don't hear or see them talking to each other.
And as she's talking to Sarah, she tells her that she has this big. She must pledge PED to be safe, and says that if she doesn't, she won't live past the next Friday, considering that the next ritual that the evil witches had doing will be on Friday.
Yes.
and all that stuff. So, anyway,
you have a nice little ritual and drain someone's blood.
Yeah. At this point, Esme is actually listening in on the conversation because she's not affected by the spell.
Yeah, I got a funny feeling she's a bit, not necessarily an immortal, but she's got magical powers and she's not controlled by the other ones.
Yeah. Anyway, eventually Sarah flees, and as she's talking to, she later finds out Vita is also a pledged PED, and she's also got the psychic ability where she can read minds.
Oh, yes, she's cute, that dude.
Anyway.
You can't lie around her, I'll tell you right now.
I can't agree for more.
I didn't take the last piece of chocolate cake out of the fridge. You're lying. Oh, dear.
Yeah. Anyway, Corin discovers that Sarah is developing feelings for Finn, who's also a virgin. This is very important, guys, because
he won't be by the end of the movie, I'll tell you right now.
Because the girls are, as they're getting themselves settled in and stuff, she goes to a study session with Finn, and eventually we see Finn with Corin, but it's actually a trick by her headmistress of sorority to make sure that she doesn't give into the alpha group.
Some sort of an illusion, yeah.
Yes.
By the way, talking about Corinne actually, about this time, takes an eyelash off Lindsey's face. I think she's going to make something like a voodoo doll or something, or do some ritual so they can control her a tad.
See, in most witchcraft rituals, they would use hair or fingernails
or something, or some sort of bodily fluid or something.
Sometimes it's bodily fluid. I don't know. I mean, I don't disbelieve or believe in this stuff, but this stuff does pop up sometimes. Anyway, Lindsey feels like everything's coming true, and she hopes that Vain luck she might land herself a boyfriend once she, gets pledged Alpha, obviously. Anyway, so the girls are starting to drift apart at this point when you think about it. And of course she starts getting a little upset when she discovers Finn with Corin, and this gives her a surge of hate that knocks Corin flat on her keister and lands in some mud.
Are you using the word keister?
Okay, her butt. And lands in some mud. And the witches, they realize that she's definitely the one, because her powers are coming off in shock waves.
Yeah.
Like, big time. Anyway, so they make plans of pledging her, but she continues to refuse to pledge. But then she goes to the head teacher again to tell her that she wants this power to stop. But then she takes her aside during a classroom session. She bursts in and tells her to make it stop, and all the students were all looking at her thinking, what the F was that all about? Then she uses the hunter uses her magic to tell them to look at the board and write down all the notes that they need to write down. So while she talks to Sarah, she takes her aside and tells her that the alphas are actually, let me see what they call it. Oh yeah, Vestal virgins, according to her. And she goes on to explain it's rather weird every time she says it, but she also goes on to explain that their group is the Magi's, according to her. Because she thinks that considering she feels like she's old, she says that I call ourselves a bit magi because, but considering how old I am, I imagine she's immortal too when I think about it. But she goes on to explain that the Vestal Virgins, they use their power through flame or fire, and while their witch group, the PAD group, they take it from the earth, and unlike them, Alpha is not preserving their power. They're actually becoming greedy, misusing it by making themselves immortal and youthful to get what they want.
You get what they want. They're very greedy.
Corin especially. I imagine she's the head witch, and she gets new pledges every year. While that explains why Goodwin, who's an ex-witch in their group, is aged with quite a deal. And I like to think every pledge or Alpha goes through there they kind of get what they want for a bit, and then they have to they use their power evilly to gain what they want, obviously.
Yes, money, fame, fortune,
husbands, wealthy, and stuff like that. And it goes on like that. And we also learn that from the hunter that her mother pledged for PED, but then got persuaded by the Alpha group because they play on your insecurities here and there. Isn't that right, Mike?
Exactly.
Yeah, which is exactly what Lindsey's going to go through very shortly, where she is tempted by the Alpha group to, if she pledges for Alpha, she'll look great and beautiful looking. I don't mean beautiful, like, as in, she doesn't need to worry about having hairspray going for her hair anymore or getting makeup done, is what I'm saying, obviously.
But who uses hairspray?
Anyway, well, some people still use hairspray. If you're going to film shoots, you have to, if you do it right. Anyway, so she's offered this. Of course, I don't think she knows the whole, the whole package deal. Like, if she pledges, both her and her sister pledge that she'd be given this beauty, but in return, there's always a very big catch in any sort of circumstances. Anyway, so, of course, Sarah tells her sister this, but her sister thinks that she's just sabotaging their chances of happiness. And she thinks that the whole thing is just the fact she wants her sister's trying to create drama wherever she goes. And she just brings up the fact about the hospital visits, like stuff like that, and brings up the cuts on her wrist and all that, and her killing herself, which is not true, really, because it turns out to be a lot deeper than that. Anyway, Sarah
we'll tell you about that later.
Yeah. Anyway, Esme then and the rest of the Alpha group, the Universal Virgins, they use the fire magic to set their room on fire. And causes them to, actually, Sarah tries to fight off the fire using her ability.
And Lindsey thinks that Sarah created the fire.
Yeah, because she's very emotional. Anyway, soon both girls, they're shuffled to their, sororities, and Sarah's placed in PED, while Elise, her sister goes to Alpha, obviously. Then later on, we see Sarah and Vita are walking through the quad, and there we see Lindsey dressed and looking beautiful. I mean, as I said, at first she thinks it's, her boobs don't look real, but then
they got bigger.
Yeah, they kind of
very nice.
Yeah, of course. This attracts attention, which is what she wants, because she wants the opposite sex to be interested in her now.
Yes. Yes. Go ahead, be interested.
Anyway, she tries to talk to her, but of course, Alpha have the same rule we have in the last movie.
You're not allowed to speak to the other guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Aha.
Yes. So anyway, she just wants to gawk and struff her stuff to show what her sister's missing out on, which I doubt is not going to be very much when you think about it, because Sarah might be looking at getting killed by later on. So anyway, while this is happening, Sarah is training her mind to, to shift some books off the shelf. Of course, she's not concentrating because she fears for her sister's safety. And this is where we do learn a bit about her mother, who is not Mrs. Goodwin, as it turns out. It turns out that her mother was a pledge, and she was also supposedly the one. But unfortunately, the sorority girls found out that she was pregnant. A few weeks, obviously, maybe. Maybe she got pregnant in high school, maybe by prom. Don't know, don't care at this point. Anyway, so they misinterpret the signs, according to Miss Hunter, who explains. And then Sarah says, okay, if my mother didn't like the idea of me being pledging for Alpha, why would she allow me to, come here? And Mrs. Hunter explains that her mother would never wish this life on her. She goes on to explain that Mrs. Goodwin is not her mother, her biological mother.
Her real mother died during the ritual.
See, after 9 months after they're born, her mother died, and then the girls were raised by Mrs. Goodwin. And we do get to see sort of a image of her mother, on the altar, and there we realize, and then we rush over to where Mrs. Goodwin is talking to some of the sorority girls and talking about how she raised the two children, both Sarah and her sister, and
because they believe that Lindsey was going to be the one.
Well, they think it's Sarah at first, because they think Sarah will eventually give in and finally accept her horrible fate. But it
turns out Lindsay's the one, not Sarah.
Yeah, but we learned this much later.
She made a bloody mistake, didn't she?
Yeah, but anyway, she thinks that seeing as they both have her weakness, her sister is her weakness, so they can probably use that to their advantage. Oh, and Finn, obviously, because Finn is a virgin.
He's a virgin. Remember, they need virgin blood?
Yeah, see, aside from Sarah, they think is the one, they can also look at casting virgins into the fire to keep it littered. Kid fire going. Yeah, seeing as we're talking about college life and girls running around with other guys, that will be a little hard.
Not too many virgins running around college. Yeah. Okay, it's university actually.
Yeah, university, college, whatever. Anyway, so there might be a slim chance of finding virgins at such a short notice.
Yeah, they're few and far between nowadays.
Yeah. Anyway, soon enough, when they're in the library, as Finn and Sarah are studying, Finn kind of gets abducted while Sarah fights off Esme. Of course, when she heads to the sorority, she thinks that she sees Finn in the window, but it's actually illusion. Yes. And she finds her sister, and she takes her to the basement where the flames are, and Finn is. Of course, this is all a trap. I don't know if Lindsey even knows her sister. If she does become the one,
I think Lindsey had an idea that needed Sarah in there for some reason or other. Didn't know what was actually going on though.
No, I don't think they do. She did. Anyway, they're about to attempt to kill Sarah before the ritual, but they find out that Lindsey gets cut by the knife of truth. And the knife can only cut the truth. One. It can only cut the one.
The real one.
And of course, they realize Lindsey is the one.
Not Sarah.
They then use their power to force Sarah and Finn out of the room. While they make their escape, Sarah goes back to the sorority, her PED sorority house, and tells what they need to do. She tells them that she wants to go in and save her sister. Here we find out later on that Goodwin finds out that Lindsey is the one, and she kept saying the signs were all there, her powers, all that stuff. Maybe I like to think, and this is my theory, that both twins had different,
Lindsey
Sarah
might have had power, they didn't know what power she had.
Yeah, Lindsey may have the one thingy wing, but Sarah has the abilities, the telekinesis, the powers. But it was all, they couldn't see the signs because, anyway, Mrs. Goodwin was turned out to be the one cutting her wrist when
Sarah's wrist when she was asleep and
when
stuff.
She was passed out
or drugged or something.
And making out that Sarah was taking her life, but we don't know. Yeah. But we then find out the truth. Turned out she'd been using spells to do this all of this time, and of course it didn't. Corin brings up that maybe these spells would have not necessarily worked very well, without the real one. Of course,
yeah, probably.
Anyway, they dispose of Mrs. Goodwin because they realize that her presence is no longer required.
Yeah, and she cocked up, didn't she?
Oh, yes. She'd been raising to the two girls and had no clue that Lindsey was the one after all this time.
Morgan Fairchild is no more.
Not well in this movie, anyway. Anyway, they begin the special ritual that each girl has to participate in, where they take dawn robes. In Sarah's case, she wears a white dress and a blue robe, while the alpha ones, they wear red robes, indicating they're Satan worshipping.
Yeah, that sort of stuff, yeah.
Oh, before she gets to the robe bit, she goes to Finn's place where they have
some really, 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 really good fast sex.
So he can
no
be
long
safe.
virgins.
Saving them from a fate worse than death.
Hey?
Anyway, she then makes it back to the sorority to take part in the ritual, and they make their way to the sorority while the alphas, they make their attempts to get Lindsey ready for the sacrifice her. All the time, Lindsey's begging, saying she doesn't want to do this anymore. I think, like Mike here said, that Lindsey had no clue that Sarah and her were going to get sacrificed.
No, I wouldn't have joined that ANU, whatever
Alpha
like
like Alpha Squad, blah blah.
Whatever. I wouldn't join them. They were
anyway.
Nasty pieces, but
the point I'm trying to make is that I think Lindsey was only given half information from these girls just to lie to make out that if she pledged Sarah to the group, then that's enough for them. But it turns out to be that they have to cut her, heart out and to feed it into the flame. And considering Lindsey is still a virgin, which makes it even more,
Yes, Lindsey was still a virgin, hadn't done it yet, hadn't broken her cherry.
Yeah, and considering the fact she made up a fake boyfriend, that does make sense. Anyway, soon enough, Sarah and her group, they arrive and start chanting a spell to cause some damage.
We will rock you. No,
it starts tearing at the walls of their sorority, like a whirlwind or a tornado.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I bet by the time this is over, everyone will be wondering if the tornado just went right through there.
Well, the white witches were doing very good work, weren't they?
Corin's allies, they go upstairs to distract the girl.
Sarah and the other guys.
But the power is too strong. The
white witches. Yeah.
Of course, Sarah goes in there and tries to take out Corin as much as she could. Of course, her powers is nothing compared to Sarah's, obviously. But Sarah is able to save her sister, and as she's trying to get her sister out of there, Corin tries to stab at using the knife of truth, obviously, at Lindsey all the time. And, of course, Lindsey finally uses the knife and plunges it into Corin, obviously. And because the blood of the one needs to be on the knife, obviously.
Yeah, the knife can't be used on anybody except the one. But once the blood of the one is on the knife, you can use the knife on anybody.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, as they're trying to escape, Corin tries to stab at Lindsey again, and this causes her to pass out. And using some of the blood that's dripping from her sister's back, she throws it at Corin's face, and she plunges into the fire, burning up to death.
Oh, what a shame.
And we see her true face, an old hag.
Haggard witch thing, yeah.
Then Lindsey and Sarah, they quickly make their escape back to PED. There, Lindsey recovers. She's strong. She's still the one.
Well, Sarah uses her power. Oh no, Miss Hannah uses her power to heal her. Yeah.
Yeah, and as Sarah decides to continue, evaporating the rest of the Alpha group out of existence. So her and the rest of the PED, they make their march across the grounds, obviously. All the while we're hearing some really awesome music. Meanwhile, Ismay is taking what remains of the flames back, to an unknown location, unknown where.
It's got a little thing like someone says it's where you put coals into to keep, and you put a bit of fuel on the cage to keep the coals going. Miss
Hunter,
like an incense burner type thing.
Miss Hunter takes the knife of truth and places it in a box
where it's supposed to
belong, and that's the end of that movie, obviously.
So there you go then.
Yeah, one of the persons who told me to actually review this asked me a lot of questions about this. Like, he asked me what happens in the aftermath after Sarah after this, in the final episode scene. I told him that there's a chance that she may destroy the Alpha groups, all except Esme.
Well, I don't know. So they were being chased out of the house and different things, and Corinne got killed. Esme was walking off with the coals by herself. So I've got a funny feeling that The other girls in Alpha Nu either ran off and some might have died during the battle they were having.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
If Corin was the head witch, which I think she is, as they often say in most stories, they would say if the head witch dies, then
the control over the other ones.
They may either lose their abilities, or that they age, or they may...
Or, they might have been older than they made out to be.
I mean, Esme remains to be young, which I imagine because of the little flame that she brought with her in that little calendar.
A bit left that little thing,
So, she manages to get away, obviously. And, of course, as I talked to this person, we talked about whether or not what would happen if they made into a TV series and what would happen. I told him that...
They'd probably die. There's only so much you can do with these sort of things. We go somewhere else, take the flame, start a new coven or whatever, coven, something or other. It did, after a while, you get tired. And, after one season, you would have exhausted all the good bits. And
I like to think that the relationship between Sarah and Them may be on again, off again, on again.
I hope it's more on than off.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like in some relationships, if he's an overprotective boyfriend, which he comes off as...
Yeah, but see, they're no longer virgins, so they've got nothing to worry about.
True.
Except maybe getting pregnant.
Yeah. As for Lindsey, I think that now that she's cute, she probably will have a difficult time trying to choose a potential boyfriend when you think about it. Because when you think about it, now that she looks so... Unless she reverts back to her prettiness.
I don't know. See, if her beauty had been enhanced magically and her breast enlarged magically, maybe that'll all be undone. Because with the number one, if she casts a spell, then the spells might be broken.
Yeah, maybe it has not affected her just of yet because the studio didn't think of that.
Well,
that's the drawback. Anyway, it's not important.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
But I do think, unlike Mike and I have been discussing it. He thinks it's a horror. I think it's more of a fantasy comedy because this doesn't have any gory scenes or
it doesn't have a gory scene to be
creepy
a horror.
Stuff.
You think of slashes. Horror does not need to have anything gory in it. It's just a horrific theme, okay? So it's a horror. It does have some light bits in it, but it's actually, the genre is listed as being a horror. It looks like the one sitting next to me. See, it's a horror. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, same back at you.
Okay.
Anyway, I do think this is a good one. It's not too bad. It's got a nice light feel to it.
It's fun.
Yeah, it may not be for everyone. But anyway, I'd like to hear reception, if there is any reception.
Very, 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 very little I can find on reception. However, I will treat your ears to what I found. Some people thought it was dull.
Figures.
There you go.
Okay.
The one of cinema crazed, whoever they are, panned the remake as being an overly bland movie, as they felt it was just so lost in its own attempts to mimic a certain show about yakking women that it can't find its own niche.
Well,
so they weren't copying that much.
No.
I mean, I don't know. Anyway, DVD Talk also panned the movie, saying glossy, largely dull retread, and recommended that fans of the original film not view the Initiation of Sarah.
Well, it's never meant to be meant to be a similar movie.
I didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying what these guys said. It's a retread of the original movie. Okay, fine. Common Sense Media gave the movie 3 stars and commented on its amount of violence. I didn't see a lot of violence in it. Maybe they commented there wasn't too much violence in it. I don't know. But anyway, irrespective. So those guys didn't
love it,
like it that much. But then again, the reviewers don't always end up on the same page as everybody else. It's their own personal likes and dislikes, whereas the paying public, or the viewing public, in this case being a telemovie, might have a different taste. So
true.
I would say The Initiation of Sarah may not be an A movie, but it's a good TV movie. Yeah. A good telly movie, how's that?
It's not even a B movie, in my opinion.
No, it wouldn't be a movie. It's a good telly movie. Yeah. It's fun, lighthearted, not too offensive, had a few good bits in it, reasonably good storyline. Yeah, that's stuff you'd expect from a telly movie.
Yeah, it has a very good good set of things in it. I liked the actors they picked for it, and I liked how Lindsey's transformation from ordinary girl to beauty in.
And I love the boob jobs. Got really, really, really quick. What?
Yeah. Anyway,
she hit me again.
You can blame her. Anyway, so I do like the fact that Sarah has this presence about her. Including Jennifer's presence. I love
a what?
Jennifer Tilly.
Oh yes.
She has this great.
She has a different sort of presence. Like, what would you call it?
Something underworld. Not underworld.
Slightly otherworldly, but she had this sort of like
unbelievably incredible,
calm, placid, but sort of in control. Yeah, something in there.
It's just something about her voice that's so incredibly. Well, just incredible. The way she speaks, the way she walks, the way she dresses in this.
Yes.
She's like, she comes off as, very medieval beautiful when I think about it.
Well, she's a beautiful lady, Jennifer, but she's not like a Barbie, but she's a very beautiful lady. Yeah. She's got a personality, atmosphere about her for this role. Yeah. Good.
I like the fact how she... Unlike the other one, who was a nasty, evil woman.
Well, Shelley Winters played a different role altogether. Yeah. She was an evil house mother.
She was an evil house mother who was out to take revenge on Alpha. While these ones, they were trying to get rid of the Alpha because they think they're a menace to society.
They were.
But that's nothing new under the sun, in my opinion.
That's a good movie. Murder Under the Sun.
Funny. But you get my meaning. The fact that I just think it's pretty cool, and I like the fact that how they used supernatural elements to the story, like even the old, pagan rituals, and including the Vestal Virgin part, which is probably a real, cult group.
They used to have Vestal Virgins being, what do you call it? The attendees at the temple, whatever. Yeah. That sort of stuff. Yeah. To keep the self pure for the rituals, that sort of stuff, for the gods or demons, whatever.
Where Sarah's, where the PED group, they came off as earthy type group,
But not earthy in a nasty way, just a nice, normal people, where the other guys were just weird.
Yeah. I mean, I like their house that they have. It's very, nice, obviously. Although I think most story houses, they go way back, like 800s,
Well, I don't know. A lot of these movies and TV shows we see about sororities, I say, well, this one goes back to 1800 and so and so. Probably when the university was first made, they might have had these houses for the landed gentry to send their kiddies to, so they had nice accommodation, that sort of stuff. But
Anyway, so. Do you want to rate this now? Because I don't think I have anything else to say about it.
I'm going to rate it as a telly movie, not an A-grade movie for cinema. So I'm still going to give this one 8.5, 9. No, I'll give this one a 9 too. It's made for TV. Mm-hmm. If it was released in the cinema as a cinema release, I'd say a bit lower. But as a telly movie, it rates pretty good for me.
I'm going to rate it. 9.5 out of 10 myself.
Ooh.
I mean, the effects were, compared to newer effects now, and compared to then, it's, it's still, not bad.
It's done well, it's believable, it draws you in,
And the fact when they do the bits where the girls are flying through the air, being knocked back by Sarah's or the other girl's magic, it looks pretty effective.
Yeah, cool.
The bits where you see a vibration from Sarah's temple or the other witches, they make me think of the Dark City, where you see that.
Oh yeah, Dark City with
a little bit.
What's his name in it?
That's okay.
Yeah, they got.
It does make me give that vibe.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, those guys. I can't remember the actor now.
The first time I've actually seen this movie was was on the ABC, and I thought it was pretty good. What? I mean, it was during the school holidays, I think it was.
What, Dark City?
No, I was talking about this one.
Yeah, this one. No, good. It's a good film. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wish people would give it a chance.
Well, they did. Obviously, it's still out there and about. You can still get it. You
could still get it somewhere. We were lucky. We kind of got it this week.
Yeah, we sent away for it. We sometimes we actually get hard copies. Sometimes we download thingies and pay for them and different things. Yeah. But we got a hard copy of this one.
Yeah, I didn't want to show Mike one that was on YouTube. They were mostly cut in 8-minute videos, and one playlist didn't have all the clips there. Yeah. And I didn't want Mike here to actually see a half-finished, movie.
Yeah, bits and pieces. And sometimes the compression and the quality is terrible on YouTube.
And sometimes they would remove music tracks or dialogue in some scenes.
Exactly.
It's annoying and, well, it's not their fault. Some of these movies, they get pulled off YouTube because of a copyright procedure thing that's become issues more and more. But they're doing it in favor so people can actually go and buy the movie or watch it.
The idea is, you don't expect a brand new release to go on YouTube for free.
Yeah.
But I think you can go on YouTube and actually... I think you can buy a copy. I don't normally use YouTube. You buy a copy or rent a copy through a place on YouTube, which is fine because that's a retail outlet. But the other ones there where people copy them, and sometimes they're pretty average copies, and I've seen some really bad ones over the years. So why would they bother putting it on YouTube? It's so crappy. Yeah. It's terrible. But yeah, well, what do you do?
Like the old Sarah one was, it was placed on YouTube, and I guess it was a suppressed one that was probably directly from television, obviously. Someone recorded it and then put it on, their computer, YouTube thingy.
If you do it properly, it's going to be reasonably good quality, but some of the quality is just terrible. So, yeah, if you're going to do it properly. If not, don't do it, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, where do you get it?
That's a good question.
Well, where do we get it? Okay. eBay, you can get it. It is for sale. Yay! Amazon, it's for sale. Yay! However, I couldn't see any place there for you to rent it. Well, so maybe I missed it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So there's nothing on Tubi.
I don't look at Tubi and all the other places. I use eBay and Amazon as a bit of a benchmark sort of thing. If you want to go onto Shudder, you want to go onto Tubi, you want to go onto YouTube, you want to go somewhere else, fine, have a look. But I'm just saying, I only go to them as a first up because they generally have stuff in there, okay? And some of the other places, the streaming services, drop stuff off after a while. So, yeah, have a look around. You can get it. Remember, go looking for it. Make sure it's a 2006 one. If the date's not on it, just go in there and check that the main star is Micah Borum, and written, directed by Stuart Gillard. You got the right one. But some of these have the listings there with no dates. It's a real pain in the neck.
Yeah, when we were looking for
the Initiation of Sarah 2006, nothing came up. Yeah. And then took the 2006 off it and came up. So yeah.
Strange because when we did spot the date on when we were looking at the Amazon one, and which is a bit odd because when you think about it,
it's not the short name for the search criteria. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, there you go.
By the way, guys, don't confuse this with the 1978 one. Okay. If you do want to watch this one, just put in the date correctly.
The 1978 one we reviewed a couple of days ago, a couple of shows back. This is a 2006 remake. Okay?
And if the date isn't on there, just look the list of names on it.
I just said
obviously.
That to them.
I know. I'm just saying.
Borum, or whatever name is, and Stuart Gillard. Yeah. So there you go, then, guys. Sarah got through it, flu, cold, whatever she got. She did well. There you go.
All right, that's about it from us, guys. So you know where to get it, and now it's up to you guys to actually go and watch it. Either buy it and then watch it, obviously.
Look, I haven't checked YouTube. It's on, you said bits and pieces?
Yeah.
Go and have a look at YouTube. I'm not really sure. Have a look, bits and pieces. If it titillates your taste buds, go and buy a copy. It's not that expensive.
If there is, for example, like sometimes YouTube, you can actually do a hiring or renting, on there for a modest fee if you're on Gmail, obviously. So you can actually hire it for a month if you want to, or a week, depending on if you want to keep it that longer.
They know how to rent them.
I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, some people don't.
You download it as a rental and you got so long to watch it. And if you start watching, they give us like 48 hours to watch the whole thing. Otherwise, they'll delete it.
Yes.
Or bar it or whatever they do. Yeah.
So you can actually, I haven't went and seen if there's a full one available on YouTube that you have to pay for on there yet. But there's a possibility of that. It
possibly is. Anyway.
So that's it from us, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, everyone. And I hope you guys see us for our next one, obviously.
Yay!
So thanks for listening to us, everyone. And I hope you guys continue sending us your thoughts on this.
Keep putting some suggestions through so we can... I mean, it's great. We can throw movies at you all day, but sometimes there's something that you want us to review, which would be really, really nice to give back to you guys.
Yeah, guys. So if you have a movie in mind that you want us to cover, just let us know. And if we already covered it, we'll send you the link to it in your next email to us, obviously.
Exactly.
So that's about it from us, guys. So this is Sarah Stephenson
and Michael
saying, see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. See you guys around, and I hope you have a good week.
Bye, guys.